and they did. The number of people whom I have come across who have been personally moved by his words, well, that would fill up a book in itself. His readers feel his pain and his joy, his confusion and his understanding, and they come away the better for it. Case in point, this collection of writings in particular, they are an assemblage of his thoughts, short pieces, and in some cases brief reflections gathered from social media. Idle thoughts that Richard shared with the world, gathered from his blog, newspaper columns, and Facebook account. There are over 2 decades of topics that Richard pondered about. In these pages you will see his wanderings, his philosophy, his searching, and his delight at what the latter half of his life had provided for him, and how it reflected on his first half. There could be no better window into the soul of the man behind such books as Indian Horse, Medicine Walk, and One Native Life. Stories, and I speak as a writer, have a soul. They have a spirit. They have a life. At least the good ones do. This is true for all works of art. They should have their creator's DNA in them. So you know when you've come across a Wagamese original, sometimes cruel and critical, other times light and life-affirming. His musings will take you to so many unexpected places. As an artist, Richard always made his past front and center in his writings. Whether those experiences were good or bad, they flavored everything he worked on. The man wrote about what had happened in his young and not-so-young life, whether directly or hidden behind the curtains of prose fiction, and his departure from this earth frequently makes us wonder where his writings would have led us in the future. In recognition of the mentorship Richard showed to emerging writers, part of the publisher's proceeds from this book will be given to the Indigenous Voices Awards to support the next generation of Indigenous literary talent. If those same literary gods were kinder, I would have personally loved to have sat down with Richard and whiled away endless hours talking novel, talking biography, talking simple storytelling. Now that would have been an honor. But, alas, other than a few occasional encounters, we never had that chance. This book is perhaps the closest I will get to doing that. Most of his novels exist in a universe he created for us. But here is the universe Richard Wagamese lived in. If you are holding this book in your hands, you are obviously a devotee. It's hard not to be. Treasure these timeless words. Honor his thoughts. But don't read it too fast. Soak it in. Enjoy every morsel. Linger on each page, because every paragraph has nuggets of understanding, lines of wisdom, stories to appreciate. I know of what I speak, for I am talking to you as one fan to another. Drew Hayden Taylor, Curve Lake, Ontario, July 2021. 1. The land is a feeling. Stories began in a cave. There is a cave in a rock cliff in northern Ontario. It lies somewhere just north of the town line of Kenora. Although I haven't been there in years lately, I've been returning there in my mind because that was where everything really started. I used to run away. Whenever life in my foster home would get too rough, I disappeared there. I discovered it one summer day while exploring the woods. The cave was a small opening in the cliff, hidden from view by a pair of tall, bushy pine trees. Over time, I'd managed to stash cookies, blankets, candles, flashlights, and pen and paper there. It became my refuge. Whenever I'd disappear, the police would comb Kenora looking for me. Meanwhile, I would be safely ensconced in my little hideaway, perched some 5 meters off the ground, watching the wind blow through the tops of the pine forest. The foster home situation was a frightening and strange experience. People I barely knew were forcing new attitudes, rules, and regulations on me, and I was scared. I remembered my life with my natural family. This new experience was unsettling since no one had ever bothered.